Meanwhile, Kenyan authorities have intensified a manhunt for gunmen who kidnapped an Italian woman in the coastal county of Kilifi. 5 other Kenyans, including 3 children, were injured in the attack. Security officials say a special force has been dispatched to the region to pursue the gunman. Many locals have described the attackers as of Somali origin. Somali Al-Shabaab militants are suspected to be behind the attack. Well, to discuss this, we are joined by Mwenda Bijiwe, a security analyst and CEO of Eye on Security. Thank you very much for joining us. This is the first abduction of a foreigner since a series of raids, as we know, blamed on Somali Islamist militants 6 years ago. Why now, and what impact do you think this is going to have on Kenya?
Certainly, the last time this happened, our armed forces crossed the border and went in hot pursuit of the Al-Shabaab that began the famous operation to flush Al-Shabaab out of the Horn of Africa, an effort that has since gained the regional support in Africa and the UN. So I expect that this is going to draw such a reaction from the Kenyan government, from the Kenyan military. Certainly anything that touches our tourism is harmful to our economy. And when Al-Shabaab touches our economy, our tourism, abducts our tourists and foreigners in our country, then that is, very wrong and going to give it a quick and a brutal response.
Why now, though?
Certainly, I guess we may have underestimated the depth of infiltration by Al-Shabaab into our country. Maybe our forces, our intelligence didn't quite know how deep Al-Shabaab has since, entered back into the borders of our country. And so maybe there was a kind of an oversight or underestimation of the impact of the enemy into our territory.
Okay, well, Al-Shabaab is, as we know, very active. 2 weeks ago, there was a deadly attack, the deadliest so far this year, killing 50 people. We know Kenya's been targeted in the past as well. All this is happening amid airstrikes by the US and reported ground success by troops. Why do you think the militant threat is still so formidable in East Africa?
If you understand the infrastructure of Al-Shabaab inside of Somalia, which is where all that you have described has happened, the group had a lot of stranglehold on the people of Somalia. And even as the African Union and the US-backed troops have been, increasing incursions into Al-Shabaab strongholds, the stronghold of the Al-Shabaab is still very firm in most places, especially the region along the border of Kenya towards by Doha inside of Somalia, coming to regions like Gedo. Al-Shabaab is still very strong in those regions. And so Al-Shabaab is still alive, not quite kicking. I wouldn't call it the last kicks of a dying horse because the horse is still running around, but Al-Shabaab has lost a considerable ground. Let's say since the incursion of the African Union troops in Somalia, they have been reduced by impact. We've reduced their economy like Kismayo Port and other places, but still the stranglehold of the group inside of Somalia is still firm.
So, well, as you say, they're still a potent threat. So what must East African states do now?
It's what I've always said. I've said this on this television and many other places I've been. It's time Africa puts their money where their mouth is. We are all talking about Somalia, but we are not putting our money and troops and soldiers on the ground. Al-Shabaab is a small problem if we decided to deal with it as a continent. However, African Union resolved to go in there and quash Al-Shabaab. But just a few countries, Kenya, Ethiopia, Burundi, Rwanda, Uganda, sent in their troops. The rest of Africa is watching and doing absolutely nothing. So if we want to deal with this problem, we've got to send in men and send in money in there to support the operation.
So more resources.
More resources and more men.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. That was Mwenda Bijiwe there, security analyst and CEO of Eye on Security. Thank you.